Lee, it's good to have you here. Thanks for being on.
Nice to be with you.
Let me just get your broad perspective first of what you make of the whole GameStop situation as you've been watching it unfold for these last couple of weeks.
Well, Rob referred to the casino environment, and I think he's on the right track. What's going on is no surprise. Prior to the virus hitting, the number of unemployed people in the country was, I think, 5.7 million. That ballooned to over 23 million. Is now dropped to about 10.7 million. It is very clear that the Fed and Congress is pulling at every stop to get employment back to where it was pre-virus. So they create an environment of free money. We have no commissions anymore because of Robinhood. We have an administration that is spending money like drunken sailors. I'm not being critical. The only person I'm really critical of, to be honest with you, is Powell. Because when he says that the stock market is not expensive against interest rates, he's leaving out the second part where interest rates are ridiculously priced. You know, if interest rates belong at near zero, you're not supposed to make more than 2 or 3% in the stock market. So I think what's going on is a logical consequence of zero interest rates, zero commissions, and very stimulative fiscal policy.
So are you saying that so it's partly the Fed's fault for putting a lot of gasoline on the fire over the last many years, but also I sense you're suggesting, tell me if I'm wrong, that you think this is part of a broader populist movement, perhaps created by the very environment that you just talked about the Fed instigating, if you will.
I'm not critical of what the Fed per se is doing. I'm critical of the dialogue. In other words, Greenspan was early, but he referred to irrational exuberance. The market is very, very pricey. We have been pulling forward demand. The outlook longer term is more questionable, and I don't think the Fed is giving any indication to the public that that's part of the picture. So I would say that I understand what's going on in the market. This is not going to end well when it ends. And the bigger question is, when does it end? I don't think it ends soon, but I think it will end, and it will end very badly for the public. Whenever you go into the S&P at current multiples, the 1-year, 3-year, 5-year returns have been very pedestrian. That's the environment we're heading for.
You've said in the past that, where it was different instances, we weren't talking about the GameStop situation, that it was going to, quote unquote, end in tears. There are a lot of tears being felt throughout the business that you made your living in. And I'm curious to get your reaction to this notion of this uprising, a revolt, if you will, against the hedge fund community. The activity that took place in GameStop against some of the short funds, and just this general idea that we're sick and tired of watching hedge funds make all of this money, hedge fund managers make all of this money. Whenever they don't get money, the government bails them out. They crashed the banks, big banks crashed the system in 2008 and got bailed out, and the quote-unquote little guy got left holding the bag. I mean, how do you react to that?
Bitcoin is holding the bag to a degree as well. Listen, in 2008, Bernanke figured out he had to rescue the economy, which was going down the toilet. And he figured out the best way to rescue the economy is to create wealth, because wealth leads to consumption. And the best way to create wealth is to get the stock market up. The trouble with that is 80% of the stock is owned by 20% of the people. Okay, and so what they did subsequently is they created a negative real return environment for savings, so you had no reward for being prudent and saving money. And that's what we're doing now. We have a new administration in place. I did vote for President Biden because I felt that I voted my values, not my pocketbook. But if you listen to what President Biden has to say, basically, they're going to raise taxes on the individuals. They're going to raise taxes on corporations. They're going to raise the capital gains tax rate. It's not going to be user-friendly, And but I don't know that they're going after hedge funds per se. But
well, there was definitely some of that, right? I mean, there was definitely some of that, and you could see it in the.
I've been doing this for 55 years. I can tell you, the short sellers, generally speaking, are more knowledgeable than the long players because they understand if you're wrong on a long, as it goes down, it becomes less of a problem in your portfolio. If you're wrong on a short, it becomes a bigger problem in your portfolio. So they tend to be very careful. They're very smart. And if I had to guess, I've never met him in my life. I've never spoken to him. But Gabe Plotkin will have turned out to be right in his view of GameStop. And the only surprise to me, to be honest with you, in GameStop is why they have not used this ridiculous price to raise some cheap capital as Elon Musk did in Tesla or the guy that converted his AMC note.
So